Once upon a time, in a land surrounded by towering mountains and misty valleys, there stood an ancient and magnificent castle. Its stone walls had witnessed centuries of history, and its high towers seemed to touch the clouds. This castle, with its grand halls and shadowed corners, was home to a young girl named Elif. She was known far and wide for her bright eyes that sparkled like morning dew, and for her heart brimming with courage. Everyone who knew her admired her, not just for her beauty or intelligence, but for the fierce determination that pulsed in her veins. Elif's family, however, carried a secret that had been passed down for generations, a secret of a lost diamond. But this was no ordinary gem. Legends whispered that the diamond contained magical powers, capable of bringing light to the darkest corners, turning barren lands into lush fields, and giving hope to those who had none. Yet the diamond bore a curse. Whoever found it but failed to wield its power correctly could unleash catastrophe upon themselves and the world around them. The responsibility of finding the diamond and using it wisely was heavy, and Elif's family had long awaited the right person, someone brave, wise, and pure of heart. From a very young age, Elif had listened to the stories of the lost diamond. Every night before sleep, her grandmother would recount the tales of ancestors who had sought the treasure, the perils they faced, and the clever ways they tried to preserve its power. Elif's imagination soared with these stories. She could see the hidden maps, feel the thrill of the search, and almost hear the whispers of magic in the air. As she grew, the longing to find the diamond became more than curiosity. It became a calling, a quiet voice urging her toward destiny. One morning, as the first rays of sunlight filtered through the tall windows of the castle, Elif was tidying an old, seldom-used room in the highest tower. Dust danced in the light, and cobwebs hung like fragile curtains in the corners. In the far corner of the room, her eyes caught something unusual, a dusty wooden chest adorned with intricate carvings and mysterious symbols. Her heartbeat quickened. The chest seemed almost alive, as if it had been waiting for her all these years. With a mixture of excitement and nervousness, Elif opened the chest. Inside lay a collection of yellowed papers, tied together with a faded ribbon. At the very top was a leather-bound journal, worn but carefully preserved. Elif's hands trembled as she lifted it. The journal had belonged to her great-great-grandfather, a man whose name and deeds were both celebrated and shrouded in mystery. Carefully, she opened the pages, and her eyes scanned the flowing, ancient handwriting. The journal spoke of the lost diamond in detail, its last known location, the clues left behind, and the dangers faced by those who dared to seek it. Elif's heart raced. The pages hinted that the diamond was hidden deep within the forest that bordered their castle, a forest both familiar and filled with unknown secrets. Though she had played in its edges as a child, she had never ventured deep into its heart. The forest was a place of imagination and stories, of whispered legends and eerie sounds. And yet, it was calling her. Elif spent the rest of the day preparing. She packed the journal, a small satchel of provisions, a flask of water, and a sturdy rope. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, she made her decision. She would follow the clues in the journal, brave the forest, and uncover the lost diamond. Her pulse quickened, not from fear, but from the excitement of the adventure that awaited. The next morning she stepped into the forest. Tall trees towered above her, their leaves rustling in a language only nature understood. Sunlight filtered through the canopy, creating patterns on the forest floor. Every step she took seemed to echo with the stories of her ancestors. As she ventured deeper, she found herself listening to the wind, following the subtle hints described in the journal. Each rustling leaf, each chirping bird seemed to guide her toward the diamond's secret. Her first clue led her to a massive oak tree, ancient and grand, whose roots spread like a protective embrace around the earth. The journal described markings at the base of the tree, symbols carved long ago by those who had sought the diamond. Elif examined the roots carefully and found a small medallion buried among the soil and stones. It was made of gold, with symbols that mirrored those in the journal. She realized this medallion was more than a piece of jewelry. It was a key, a sign that she was on the right path. She fastened it around her neck and continued. As the day wore on, the forest grew darker and more tangled. Twisting vines and towering trees blocked the sunlight, creating shadows that danced like spirits across her path. Strange sounds echoed through the woods, rustling, whispers, and the next morning the forest seemed to greet Elif with a mixture of wonder and challenge. Sunlight pierced through the canopy in golden beams, illuminating patches of moss and wildflowers. Yet shadows stretched across her path, reminding her that danger could be anywhere. She tightened her satchel straps and adjusted the medallion around her neck, feeling its warmth and weight, a comforting reminder that she was on the right path. The journal had warned that the journey would not be easy. The forest was alive, filled with tests designed to measure courage, intelligence, and kindness. Each step she took led her further from the familiar and deeper into mystery. Birds with iridescent feathers flitted past, chirping cryptic melodies. Sometimes she thought she saw shapes moving in the shadows, strange creatures with glowing eyes watching silently. She shivered but pressed on. Hours passed and the path became steeper. She climbed rocky slopes where loose stones threatened to tumble with every step. The wind whistled through the trees like a chorus of whispers. Elif's heart pounded, yet she felt a strange exhilaration. The journal had spoken of the first guardian she would face, a creature neither wholly animal nor fully spirit, tasked with testing the purity of one's intentions. Suddenly, a soft rustling came from the underbrush. Elif froze, her breath caught in her chest. From the shadows emerged a fox-like creature, but unlike any she had ever seen. Its fur shimmered with hues of silver and violet, and its eyes glowed like tiny lanterns. The creature circled her, its tail flicking gracefully, and then spoke in a voice that was gentle yet commanding. "Who walks these woods with courage in their heart?" it asked. Elif's eyes widened. She hadn't expected a talking animal. I, I am Elif," she replied, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "I seek the lost diamond of my family. I mean no harm." The creature studied her intently, its eyes piercing. "Many have come before you, seeking the diamond for selfish gain. Few have pure hearts. Prove your intentions, and I shall guide you further." Elif nodded, remembering the lessons her grandmother had taught her: honesty, kindness, and courage. "I want the diamond not for myself," she said. "I wish to help my people, heal the land, and protect those in need." The creature's eyes softened, and it nodded once. "Then follow me," it said, turning gracefully and disappearing between the trees. Elif followed, feeling both nervous and honored. She realized that in this forest, courage alone was not enough. Wisdom and compassion mattered even more. As they journeyed deeper, the forest became wilder. Vines hung like green serpents from the trees, and twisted roots seemed to form natural barriers. The creature led her to a clearing where the air shimmered with faint light. In the center stood a stone pedestal, and upon it rested a riddle inscribed in ancient symbols. The medallion around her neck glowed, resonating with the symbols on the pedestal. Elif knelt to study the riddle. "I am not alive, yet I grow. I do not speak, yet I tell. I do not move, yet I show the way. What am I?" She pondered, thinking of every lesson and story she had learned. The answer was not immediate, but slowly she realized the solution came from observing and understanding rather than rushing. "A map," she whispered. "It's a map." The pedestal trembled, and a hidden compartment slid open, revealing an old, intricately drawn map. It depicted the forest, marking paths and secret passages. Elif's excitement surged. The map would guide her through the more dangerous areas of the forest, where only the brave dared to tread. Following the map, she encountered a series of challenges. A narrow cliff path tested her balance, while a rushing stream demanded she find a way across without losing her footing. At one point, she heard a soft weeping sound. Curious and cautious, she approached and found a small magical creature trapped beneath a fallen branch. Its delicate wings shimmered faintly in the dim light. Without hesitation, Elif lifted the branch, freeing the creature. "Thank you, brave one," it whispered. "Your heart is pure. Take this with you." It handed her a tiny crystal that glowed with an inner light. "When danger comes, this will show you the safest path and protect you from harm," the creature said before disappearing into the foliage. Elif tucked the crystal into her satchel, feeling the forest acknowledging her kindness and courage. Night fell, and the forest transformed. Shadows danced and whispered, and unfamiliar sounds echoed through the trees. Elif set up a small camp beneath a large oak tree, lighting a fire to ward off the darkness. She reflected on the day's events: the guardian, the riddle, the map, and the magical crystal. Each step had tested her not only physically, but mentally and emotionally. She knew that the journey ahead would be even more challenging. The morning sun barely pierced through the dense forest canopy as Elif prepared to continue her journey. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and moss. Her heart beat faster, for she knew the Cave of Shadows lay ahead, a place that few had entered and even fewer had emerged from unscathed. According to the journal, the cave was enchanted, filled with ancient trials meant to test courage, wisdom, and heart. The diamond's resting place, if it truly existed, awaited inside. Elif followed the map carefully, navigating past thorny bushes and twisted roots. The deeper she ventured, the darker and colder the forest became. The magical crystal she had received from the tiny creature glowed softly, casting a faint light that revealed her path. She could hear distant sounds echoing like whispers, some melodic, others haunting. Each step forward was a test of her bravery, as if the forest itself were evaluating her worthiness. Finally, she reached the mouth of the Cave of Shadows. It was carved into the side of a steep cliff, hidden behind thick vines and jagged rocks. A cold wind escaped the cave's entrance, carrying with it the faint scent of minerals and something else, something ancient, almost alive. Elif took a deep breath, tightened her grip on the medallion, and stepped inside. The cave's interior was unlike anything she had ever seen. Shadows danced across the walls as her small torch flickered, creating eerie shapes that seemed to move with a life of their own. The air felt heavy, charged with a strange energy. On the walls were inscriptions in an ancient language, similar to those she had seen on the medallion. As she studied them, the symbols seemed to rearrange themselves, forming a riddle. Only the pure of heart can see the path that lies beyond the tree. Speak the truth, let courage guide, or forever in the dark you'll hide. Elif's mind raced. She knew the cave was testing her, not just her intelligence but her intentions. She knelt and whispered, "I seek the diamond to help others, to heal the land, and to bring hope. I will use its power only for good." A soft glow began to emanate from the symbols on the wall. A hidden passage opened before her, leading deeper into the cave. Elif stepped cautiously, feeling a strange warmth as she entered the next chamber. Inside, the walls sparkled faintly with crystalline formations, casting shimmering reflections that danced like miniature stars. At the center of the chamber was a pedestal, similar to the one she had seen in the forest, but larger and more intricate. On it rested an ancient scroll, tied with a silver ribbon. Elif carefully untied the scroll and unrolled it. It contained instructions, written in a poetic, almost musical language. It described a series of actions to unlock the diamond's resting place. Light the torches in the correct order, place the medallion upon the pedestal, and speak the names of the virtues that guide the heart. Elif's hands trembled with excitement and nervousness. She followed each instruction meticulously, lighting torches that flickered to life and illuminated hidden carvings on the walls. The medallion, when placed on the pedestal, began to glow intensely, resonating with the crystals embedded in the cave walls. She whispered the virtues aloud: courage, wisdom, compassion, and patience. Suddenly, the ground trembled slightly, and a hidden stone door slid open, revealing a smaller chamber bathed in a soft golden light. And there it was, the legendary diamond, perched atop a stone pedestal, radiating colors that seemed alive, shifting between blue, green, and crimson. Its brilliance was mesmerizing, yet Elif remembered the warnings. She could not let greed or impatience cloud her judgment. Approaching the diamond, she felt an invisible energy pulsing from it, responding to her presence. She reached out slowly, careful to keep her heart focused on good intentions. As her fingers brushed the diamond, it flared brightly for a moment and then settled, as if acknowledging her worthiness. Elif knew that holding the diamond came with responsibility. Its power could heal, protect, and bring prosperity, but misuse could bring ruin. She carefully lifted it, feeling the warmth and energy flow through her hands, filling her with a sense of purpose. She vowed silently to use it only to help others, protect her village, and honor the legacy of her ancestors. The journey back through the cave was equally challenging. Shadows twisted in new ways, and unseen gusts of wind whispered warnings. But Elif's courage and the guidance of the crystal helped her navigate safely. When she finally emerged into the forest's edge, the morning sun bathed the land in golden light, as if welcoming her return. Elif looked at the diamond, now safely nestled in her satchel, and felt a profound sense of accomplishment. The adventure had tested her mind, body, and heart, but she had emerged stronger and wiser. The forest, once mysterious, and the journey back from the Cave of Shadows had left Elif both exhausted and exhilarated. Every step closer to her village filled her heart with anticipation. She carried not just a diamond, but a destiny, a gift that could change lives forever. As she descended the last hill, the familiar sight of her village came into view. Smoke curled gently from chimneys, and children's laughter echoed faintly through the fields. Yet Elif noticed the shadows too. Cracked walls, weary faces, crops struggling in the fields. Her people had endured hardship for many seasons. Now with the diamond, she hoped to bring renewal. When she entered the village square, everyone gathered quickly. Eyes widened at the glowing satchel that Elif carried. Whispers rippled through the crowd. Is it true? Did she really find it? Could it be the lost diamond of legend? Elif stepped onto the old stone platform where announcements were made. She placed her hand over her heart and spoke clearly. My friends, I have returned from the forest and the Cave of Shadows. I carry with me the diamond, not for myself, but for us all. It is not just a treasure, but a responsibility. Together, we must decide how to use its power wisely. The crowd gasped when she revealed the diamond. It shimmered with colors that seemed alive, and every villager felt a warmth wash over them, as if the jewel was listening to their hopes and dreams. An elder stepped forward, old Hassan, the storyteller of the village. His eyes filled with tears as he whispered, I never thought I would see it again. Long ago, our ancestors spoke of its power to heal and to bless the land. Elif, the diamond chose you because your heart is pure. That night, under the stars, the villagers gathered to witness the diamond's power. Elif placed it gently on the ground, and as it touched the earth, a soft glow spread across the fields. The cracked soil softened, seeds sprouted instantly, and flowers blossomed as if spring had arrived overnight. The villagers gasped, their hearts filled with wonder. But the diamond's magic did more than heal the land. It healed people too. Little Aylin, who had been ill for weeks, touched the diamond and smiled for the first time in days, her sickness lifting like mist in the morning sun. Farmers felt strength return to their weary bodies, and the air itself seemed fresher, filled with hope. Yet Elif remembered the warning. With great power came great responsibility. She gathered the children around her and told them, this diamond is not just magic. It is a reminder that kindness, courage, and wisdom are the greatest powers of all. Promise me, you will always remember this. The children nodded eagerly, their eyes wide with admiration. Over the following weeks, the village transformed. Crops flourished, streams flowed with clear water, and no one went hungry. People began building new homes, painting them in bright colors. Music returned to the square, and laughter filled every corner. The diamond became a symbol of unity, kept safe, but never hidden, for it belonged to everyone. Still, Elif knew their journey was not over. Strange dreams began to visit her at night. Visions of distant lands, other villages in need, and shadows that lingered beyond the horizon. The diamond pulsed faintly whenever she dreamed, as if calling her to something greater. One evening, as the sun dipped below the hills and painted the sky crimson and gold, Elif stood with old Hassan. She asked, do you think the diamond's power should remain only here? Hassan shook his head gently. Child, the world is wide and suffering knows no borders. Perhaps the diamond came to you not only to heal this village, but to teach others what true strength means. Your journey may only be beginning. Elif gazed at the glowing horizon, her heart steady and determined. She had found the diamond, saved her village, and brought hope. But deep inside, she knew there were more caves to explore, more mysteries to uncover, and more people to help. The villagers celebrated her as a hero, yet she felt more like a messenger, chosen not for glory but for purpose. And as the stars filled the sky, Elif whispered to herself, "This is not the end. It's the beginning of something greater." The village had become a place of light and laughter, its fields alive with color, its people stronger and happier than ever before. Yet for Elif, the diamond's glow was no longer just a blessing, it was a calling. Each night, when she placed it by her bedside, she dreamed of distant lands cloaked in shadows, where children cried for food, rivers dried to dust, and skies turned gray. The diamond pulsed in her dreams, whispering without words, "Go further. The world needs you." One morning, Elif stood before her people in the village square. Her satchel, now glowing faintly, was strapped over her shoulder. The crowd gathered, sensing what she was about to say. "My friends," she began, her voice steady but warm. "This village is strong now, but the world beyond still suffers. The diamond has shown me visions, places where children go hungry, where forests fall silent, where hope fades. I cannot ignore this. I must go." Gas filled the air. Mothers clutched their children, farmers exchanged uneasy glances, and old Hassan's wise eyes glistened with both pride and sadness. "Child," Hassan said softly, stepping forward, "your heart is bigger than this village. The diamond chose you because you are brave enough to carry its light beyond our borders. But remember, power does not only rest in the stone, it rests in you." Elif knelt, touching the earth beneath her feet one last time. The villagers gathered around, offering gifts for her journey, a woven scarf from the weavers, bread and honey from the bakers, and a carved wooden charm from the children. Tears filled her eyes as she realized how deeply she was loved. At sunrise, she set out, the path stretching endlessly before her. Hills rolled into valleys, forests whispered with secrets, and rivers sang as she crossed them. The diamond guided her, glowing brightest when she neared places where darkness lingered. In a distant village, she found people suffering from drought. The earth was cracked, and children carried empty buckets to dry wells. Elif placed the diamond upon the ground, and soon water bubbled from beneath, forming a clear, sparkling spring. The villagers danced with joy, their thirst quenched, their lives renewed. In another land, she found forests burning, smoke choked the sky, and animals fled in fear. Holding the diamond high, Elif whispered words of kindness, and rain poured from the clouds, quenching the flames. The forest sighed in relief, and new leaves sprouted almost instantly. Everywhere she went, people called her the Girl of Light. Some built statues in her honor, others sang songs of her courage. But Elif never lingered long, for she knew the diamond's work was never finished. She gave hope, restored balance, and then continued her journey, leaving behind not just miracles but lessons, lessons of courage, kindness, and unity. Years passed and Elif grew older, yet her spirit never dimmed. She traveled across mountains, oceans, and deserts, always guided by the glowing jewel and her unshakable heart. She faced dangers too, greedy kings who wanted the diamond for themselves, shadowy creatures born of fear, and even doubts that crept into her own heart. But each time she remembered the promise she made to the children of her village, to use the diamond not for herself, but for the good of all. Finally, one evening, as the sun dipped beneath a horizon she had never seen before, the diamond began to shine brighter than ever. Its light wrapped around Elif like a warm embrace, and she realized the truth. The diamond's power was never meant to last forever. It was meant to awaken the power already inside people, the power of kindness, unity, and love. Smiling, Elif lifted the diamond high one last time. Its glow spread across the world, touching every village, every forest, every ocean. For a moment, the earth itself seemed to breathe with relief. Then slowly the diamond dissolved into stardust, scattering into the skies above. The world was healed, not by a jewel, but by the lessons it had taught through Elif. She looked up at the stars, where the diamond's light now twinkled among them, and whispered, "This is not the end. The light is within us all." And so, Elif walked onward, not with a diamond, but with the strength of her own heart, ready for new adventures. her story echoing through generations as the girl who carried the light of hope.